Welcome in. Today we're going to talk about a 3-month probate business plan. So, show of hands. You can either wave at me or you can go down to the reactions button at the bottom of your page. And it seems like Zoom might have moved that. There should be a reaction button at the bottom of your page. Raise your hand if you guys are just getting started in the estate or probate niche. I kind of want to get an idea of who's just kind of booting up right now versus has been doing it for a bit. All right. Good number of people just getting started. I'm glad. Now, pop your thumbs down, your hands down. Let's take those down. How many of you have been doing this for a little while? Okay, got a few people, not everybody. Seems like we've got more folks that are just getting started than have been doing it for a little bit. We do have in this room, we have a lot of seasoned veterans. I was just talking to a couple of people this morning that are seasoned veterans that are getting a lot of probate business in their respective markets. So I appreciate you guys being on here that are veterans. I see Bill just joined. Bill does our Tuesday coaching call. Thanks for jumping in, Bill. I have several of my coaches on here. Bill, Kim, Evie. If I'm miss at Casey, if I'm missing you guys, you can wave at us if you're one of our coaches. Basically, if you guys are new here, we try to make sure that we're plugging people into classes frequently, workshops frequently. We have role plays every couple of weeks. Um, We've been launching a new coaching program over the past couple of months. So if you've been around and haven't seen workshops pushed out a lot recently, it's because we've been in the middle of a big coaching program launch. I'll tell you guys just a little bit about that at the end of this class. But we try to do these for you guys completely free very frequently. And this is sort of our first one back. We haven't had one of these for about a month and a half. So just be on the lookout in your email boxes for workshops and role play sessions that are coming out that you guys will be able to join in on. Whether you're seasoned or how do you take your thumb down, Evie? I don't know. I think it comes down automatically. So be on the lookout for some of these. Our goal is to make sure that not only in the probate and estate space, but with your real estate business in general, that we're contributing to your success. You should be able to take some of the practices and the principles that we'll show you today and show you in other workshops and things, and apply that to all of your business to get to grow. Okay. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the principles of establishing a quarterly business plan. Why quarterly? I don't know. I think it's time. I think about once a quarter is a good time to go back and review what you have, even if you guys do annual plans. Even if you do semi-annual plans, I think that every quarter it's a time to go back and reevaluate what you're doing that's working, what you're sending out, what you're saying on the phone, how your relationships are performing. If you're ahead of your goals, it's time to dial your goals up and make sure that you're not just sitting in cruise control because cruise control is bad. Okay. If you're behind your goals, it might be time to tweak and adjust some of the activities and the key performance indicators that you guys are using. So I want to show you how I make my quarterly business plans. And you can apply some of these same principles to an annual business plan as well. But first and foremost, I'm going to jump over and start a quick slide presentation. And if you guys have any questions as we move through this, just pop your hand up, wave at me. I should be able to see you guys. You can, if you want to make sure I see you, click the reactions button and click that raise hand bar at the bottom of that list of reactions, and I'll get a notification for you. All right, excellent. So we're going to share our screen and get into today's class. All right. So we are talking about, as we've already discussed at nauseum, we are talking about a 3-month business plan, and I do want you guys having an annual plan, and I do want you having a semi-annual plan. The 3 months is going to be your review. So if you don't have any business plan around probate and estates at all right now, Let's at least get you started with 3 months, and then we can move on past your 3 month business plan. So I'd like you guys to have something a little bit longer than this, but this is at least going to get you started if you're just now getting into the probate space. Any niche that I've ever taken on in my business, I've always sat down and looked at what my goals were. I've determined whether the conversion ratios that other people are seeing would be realistic for the goals that I have. So, for example, let's say in your area you get 5 probate leads a month, and you say, I want to close 5 deals a month. I would say that's totally unrealistic. You're never going to get there. Okay. So we want to look and make sure that what you're hoping for out of it is realistic if you're working hard and you're constantly improving, and you're working smart. But once I know that it's realistic, then I want to establish the step-by-step process and the step-by-step plan that's going to get me to those goals. And once you've established your step-by-step process, you're probably not going to look up at the big goal out on the horizon very often. I want you to glance up at that big goal about once every 3 months or so, which is why we're doing a 3 month plan. But for the most part, you're going to be paying close attention weekly and daily to those steps along the way. Many of you guys have heard me talk about setting goals and paying more attention to your process than the goal. And I'm just going to give you guys an analogy. Just pretend that you're hiking through the desert in Utah or Nevada, and you're looking out at the horizon the whole time, looking at the horizon saying, I've got this goal that I need to get to, and it's 4 miles away. And all you're doing is paying attention to the horizon. You walk right into the Grand Canyon because you're not looking at where your feet are going. So, what I want to show you today is how we establish that horizon point about once every 3 or 6 months, but then we figure out what those action steps are. Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. So we're going to find those clues and key performance indicators that are along the way, or that take you to the ultimate goal, and those are going to be what we pay close attention to. So we're going to start here by talking about what your probate business plan needs to include. And by the way, when I talk about probate, I'm really talking about any niche or any kind of specifically life transition niches. So this could be trusts. This could be estates that aren't in probate. This could be senior downsizing. This could be homeowners that have lived in their houses for 20 years with high equity. I don't care what your niche is. This plan is going to fit all of it. It just so happens that we're part of Probate Mastery. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about probate today, but I don't care what your niche is. I'm looking down here. Mark Tonia is on here. Well, he's not. There he is. There's Mark. Your green screen was blurring you out. Mark does foreclosures, okay, and other things. So these principles are going to apply no matter what niches you're pursuing in your business. So what is your plan going to include? So the first thing that your plan is going to include are your tools and accountability to achieve that plan. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail on each of these. So I'm not going to camp out a lot on this first slide. So we need to identify our tools and coaches or accountability partners that are going to help us um, move through and perform daily on the activities that we've committed to. We also need to have our closing goals. So those closing goals are the big goals on the horizon. So once you've identified your goals and you've figured out your action plan, you're going to pay much closer attention to your action plan than how far away from the real number of closings you are. All right, we're going to identify pipeline goals. So anytime you're building a structure, you never want to build a structure where the ceiling that you've built up to can't support additional business. So let me give you guys an example real quick. You have a goal of closing 6 transactions over the next 6 months, and you do that by making phone calls. And that's all you do. All you do is you pick the phone up and you hunt for sellers that are ready to sell. And you've done nothing with content. You've done nothing to establish credibility. You've created no relationships. You've created no infrastructure around that business other than waking up every single day and making a phone call. What's it going to take to get 6 closings over the next 3 months? You're going to have to wake up every single day and make a phone call. And I'm not against you waking up every day and making a phone call. I encourage you to do that. But those activities may lead to the 6 transactions that you're hoping for, but they are going to require you to do the same thing repetitively. So, what I want to show you guys today is how you're going to build a system that goes out and hunts down business for you. And you can build on top of, and you can add new things in the next 3 months, and new things 3 months later, and new things 3 months later. And every new piece of the system you put in place either makes your life easier or makes you more income moving forward in the future. So we are going to build some pipeline goals, some things that you're doing that may not generate money over the next 3 months, but they generate more business way into the future. We are going to pick our assets and our systems. And then lastly, we're going to talk about choosing our weekly key performance indicators. All right. So where are we going to start? We are going to start with our closing pipeline goals. And I'm going to assume that this is per 100 leads. Why are we doing this? I'm doing this just because it's easy math. Anyone here that has 200 leads, you can double this. Anyone here that has 50 probate records or estate records per month, you might cut this in half. So I'm assuming 100 probate records per month are the ones that you're pursuing. So if I get 100 leads today, my target is going to be to get 1 out of 100, 1% in contract or closed with me in the first 3 months. 1 in the first 3 months. There are those of you that are doing worse than this, those of you that are doing better than this. But let me ask you guys why I would be looking for 1 in the first 3 months. Do you guys know what the average time frame for probate is? The average time frame for a probate real estate transaction. So they apply for probate, they get approved. How long does it take that average family to sell? Who has an answer for me? I see some really familiar faces. You guys that are familiar should know the
24
answer.
months.
20 how long?
24 months if they're
24.
motivated.
Two
Man,
days. 2 days.
we've seen those. Good answer, Michael. Wrong.
I got one
We've
that's
seen
5 years
those.
right now.
Two
Yeah.
days. 2 days.
I had one that ran 17 years one time. Okay. Now, average, what'd you say, David?
2 days.
No, how long does it take? They apply for probate. How long does it take the
Oh,
average person to put a house on the market?
it's it's about 4 months to get the letters of testamentary, 4 to 8 months, and then they usually have 2 to 3 people picked out as they get closer.
Yep. Okay.
And
So
then if
between
they're taking offers, they're going to take offers up until they get the letters of testamentary from the attorney.
Yep. Yep. So about 4 months is about the time that it takes most of them to make any kind of decision at all, is what you're saying in your market.
Yep.
Okay. So I say 6 months. So I find that it takes the average family about 6 months. Now I know, now David, it takes 4 months just to get letters of testamentary. And if you don't know what letters testamentary is, that's the court's approval for the family to form the estate bank account and actually start distributing and selling, not distributing, but selling assets. So in David's market, it might take 4 months after they apply. Most markets, it doesn't take that long. My market takes about a month. So you apply for probate, you're usually going to have letters testamentary within a month or month and a half. So I know that when you've lost a loved one and you go apply for probate, while most families take about 6 months, there are going to be those families that have no money in the bank account and they've got to go. they have to sell. And it's not because they want that payout, it's because there's no money to even carry the mortgage on a house. So, inside of the first 3 months, I'm expecting that I am going to find one person that's going to sell a house and that will enter a contract with me or potentially close within that first 3 months. So I want to get one closing in the first 3 months. Now, I know that about 30 to 40 out of 100 people that apply for probate are going to have a house to sell. So I want you guys to write that down. Out of 100 people that apply for probate, 100 families going through probate, 30 to 40 are going to have a house that is going to sell. Okay. So if it's going to sell, it doesn't mean it's going to sell in the first 3 months. A lot of these folks are going to go to 6 months, 12 months, sometimes a little bit longer than that before they sell. But my goal in the first 3 months is to find at least half of those that are going to sell. So when we start creating our business plan, we need to identify the steps that it's going to take to uncover one half of those that are going to sell, which means I need to have a conversation with about half of all my leads. Right. How many of you are doing that, by the way? How many would say that you're getting probate business right now? You've been working probate leads, and you're getting into conversation with at least half of the leads that you get. Is there anyone here that can say that?
Yes.
Yes, David. David's doing that. How do you do that, David?
I call the out-of-state probate first, and then I work my way through the local ones, and then I send a letter to the ones that have the same address. The spouse maybe died in the house or something over the next year or 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they always end up calling.
Yep. Yep.
It's just a
So,
conversation. You got to have all three different types of probates.
yeah,
And I'm mainly hammering the ones that are out of state to get a hold of them on the phone now.
perfect. So you go out of state first, and then you start calling the local people after you've hit the out of state people first. Good strategy.
And the
And then
local
you go to
ones,
surviving spouses.
yep. The local
Okay.
ones, you can look up the address and see if it's a stress, and you could add that to your priority list as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So David is getting half or better, in touch with half or better of his probate leads, and he's doing that through phone, mail. I've seen David's YouTube channels and videos, so I'm sure he's creating credibility content. There's people here that are getting in touch with half of the leads because they're in relationship with the attorneys and the estate sale companies. So I want you guys to have a goal that you need to start a conversation with at least one half of the probate leads in your area. That's the goal. Now, I know that this is doable. I've got a couple of people that I coach. I won't name the market, but I have a few people that I coach that are networked together and they communicate frequently. And we coach multiple times a week. And they're getting between 60 and 70% of all their leads, and they have 600 or 700 leads between the three of them. They're getting between 60 and 70% of those leads on the phone or in conversation, and they're doing that with a combination of attorney referrals, phone calls, and door knocking. So they say that our goal is to get at least 50% of every single one of our leads to at least have a dialogue, a voice to voice dialogue with us. Now, it takes them about 3 hours a day on the phone to do that. And then they spend a couple of hours every week out door knocking the people that didn't answer. So there is
Beautiful.
absolutely a way to get a really high percentage of your leads to engage with you. If you can do that, and there's 30% of a lead list that's going to sell, you'll find 15 of them. So if I'm finding 15 in a month, why am I only shooting for one closing? Who knows? Does that mean that I'm really garbage at having a conversation? So I'm talking to 15 people that say they're going to sell, and I only get one of them to close in the first 3 months. Why is that?
Yeah, you need some help.
Need some help?
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm
Yeah,
just
I
kidding.
do. Yeah, maybe I could hire
I know
David.
that's realistic though. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. So it kind of goes to how we know these 15% are going to sell. How do we know this? I know this as soon as someone says, "Hey, it's too early to tell. It's too early. I don't know. I've got other things on my plate. We haven't decided yet." Things like that. That tells me that that's a seller that I have on my hands. Okay. That's a seller that just doesn't know that they're a seller yet. They have other things that are taking a priority right now. So when I have a large number of my conversations end up saying that, I tag them as a home seller, a house seller. They just don't know it yet. So I have to put them in a follow-up plan. So what I'm doing when I'm hunting down this 15% of any list that's going to indicate to me that there's a sale coming, what I'm doing is I'm looking for the 20% that are going to sell fast. So 20% of 15 happens to be in a market of 100 leads, happens to be 3 people that would give you some kind of an indication that there's going to be a quick sale within the first 3 months. And all I have to do, if they indicate that, all I have to do is get my third. I hope you guys are following along with this. So this is the way that I set up every single niche that I have is I break the numbers down to see what are going to be fast conversions and what are going to be long-term conversions. And my fast conversions, I want to find 20% that are going to sell. So 20% of those that are going to sell, that are going to be a short-term conversion, and I try to get at least a third of them. And if I get a third, that's a deal. That's a deal in the first 3 months of that lead list coming out. Okay. Now that means that I have a whole bunch of people that are in my pipeline that I should be able to convert more of. So I've figured out that there's probably another 12 in here that aren't going to sell in the first 3 months. And that's 12 people that if you do a good job of following up, you should probably be able to uncover another 1 or 2 or 3 closings out of the 12 that aren't going to close in the first 3 months. But we're focused on 3 months for now. All right. Any questions on that? Anybody have any questions? Nope. If you do, just pop your hand up. All right, so let's talk about our pipeline goals. So that's what we do. I want you guys, when you identify someone that's going through probate or they're settling an estate, they could even be in trust or pre-probate or anything like that. When you identify someone that's going through there or a certain number of people, I want you to have a goal that you're going to get in touch with, get in voice-to-voice conversation or face-to-face with at least half of everyone that you identify in a month, right? And to do that, it's going to take some structure. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some daily activities. And if you're not willing to put the daily activities in, I mean this in the best possible way. If you're not willing to pick the phone up, if you're not willing to have attorney conversations, if you're not willing to occasionally knock on a door, then there's plenty of business out of your sphere of influence that you can go get. But if you're willing to do those things and you're willing to put some effort into it, you'll get in touch with half of your leads. You will. That should be your goal. And if you get in touch with half of your leads, you'll find 15% of the lead list that's going to sell, especially in the probate space. All right. So now let's talk about our pipeline. So what is our pipeline? Our pipeline are those 12 people that aren't going to sell in the first 3 months. That 12% of a lead list that isn't going to sell in the short term. They're going to take your 6 months, your 4 months. They're going to take sometimes a year. Those are your people that are moving slower. And why are they moving slower? Grief, overwhelm with other pieces of the process. Maybe they don't have to sell. There's plenty of money sitting in a bank account. And because of that, they don't have the pain that causes them to rush to sell a property. Maybe they're avoiding the conversation with other family members. I've seen that many, many, many times. You get multiple siblings involved and there's money in a state's bank account or the house is free and clear, so they don't have a financial urgency. And they just don't want to talk about what to do with mom and dad's house with their 3 brothers. It's just a topic that they're not used to having uncomfortable conversations. And so they put that topic off. Those people are sellers It's up to us to kind of shortcut and get ahead of that procrastination that they have on those discussions. But they're going to take a little bit longer, and that's fine with me, as long as I've identified who those folks are. That's the goal. I just want to identify who my pipeline sellers are. So I want to add those 12 warm prospects that have given me some kind of a clue that they're going to sell into my pipeline. All right. How often do you guys communicate with people in your pipeline? So you identify someone that's going to sell, they're just not ready yet, but you think they're going to sell. What's your plan? Who has a plan for these? I've got some coaches here. What do you guys do? What's your plan for communicating with these folks that you identify? Kim, I have no idea if you are free. I don't see you on my main Zoom screen, but we were talking about this earlier. Your pipeline is what right now?
I have 30 listings that will be listing in the next 60 days.
60
to
days.
90 days.
How many are probate?
About 85%, 80%, somewhere in there.
About 80 to 85%. So those are folks that are strictly sitting in your pipeline. What's your communication plan with them?
I talk to them either every week or every 2 weeks with issues that they need to deal with, where they are in the process. I'm in the Phoenix area, so right now we're just kind of waiting for the heat to transition from that mindset after the July 4th time is when we start. So our slow market in Phoenix is right now.
Yep. Got it. So you want to talk to them every week or two.
Every week or two, I'm touching base, I'm emailing, I'm texting. I develop a almost a friendship level basis with them where I'm just checking in on you. Everything okay? Is there anything you need help with? And that way, by that time, all of the other agents have fallen off. So nobody's calling them.
This is absolutely true. Everybody else is looking for that one piece of low-hanging fruit. If you guys are looking for the low-hanging fruit, you'll find about 3 out of 100 if you're calling and doing a good job of establishing communication. You might capture 1 out of 100, which is good. How many of you get 100 leads and would like a deal a month? A lot of people. A lot of people. That's good. If you want to be like Kim and have your pipeline of 30 people that are about to come on the market in the next 60 days, you've got to also focus on the 12 people that aren't ready yet. You have to focus on the 12 that aren't ready yet. So what I want to do is sort of establish a set of pipeline goals. You've spent your effort, you've spent energy, you might have spent money identifying your 3% of a list that's going to sell really fast. Okay. You got your one deal out of that list of 100 that goes in the first 3 months. Now let's talk about what you want to start doing to build that pipeline. Okay. So over the next 3 months, I want as many of you as will do it to work on this. Number one, figure out where your 12% of warm prospects are that might be a seller, they're just not ready yet. Figure those out. Next, and this is going to change and vary for everybody. I would encourage you guys to make a goal of attending at least 6 business-to-business networking events where you have a likelihood of running into people that also service your niche. Okay. 6 B2B networking events. Why 6? It's not a magic number. It's just something that I feel like everyone can do. It's one every 2 weeks over the next 3 months. So if you can go to one B2B event every 2 weeks over the next 3 months with a goal of finding people that also connect to the niche that you're building. Now, if you're building a different kind of niche, this applies. This is going to apply to you if you're building a different kind of niche. But in the probate niche, I'm going there looking for estate planning attorneys. I'm going there looking for financial advisors. Why? Financial advisors typically shortcut the probate process and set their clients up with estate plans. So if I'm waiting on a probate list to come out, I'm never going to see their clients because their clients have created trusts. So I want to network with and connect with financial advisors, the good ones. I'm looking for nursing home administrators, senior living, multiple different attorneys, estate sale providers, property clean out companies, restoration companies. I'm looking for individuals and companies and vendors that do these things. And to find them, one of the things I do is try to go to networking events. And I don't go to networking events forever. There are people that are addicted to networking events, and they go and they go and they go, and they usually never get any business traction because all they're doing is socializing. So if you go to networking events, you need to go with the intention of finding people that also service your niche and getting into a relationship with them. So I want to try to hit 6 of those over the next 3 months. I want to make it where twice a week I'm putting some sort of probate or an estate related or relevant piece of content out through social media. Okay. Is 26 posts the magic number? No, it's just 2 a week for 3 months. Okay. There is no magic number here. Just set yourself a goal that you think is going to get you where you want to be. So for me, it's 2 a week for the next 3 months. That could be a static post, that could be video. Right now, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok videos are very, very popular. So those are good. But I want your audience, those that know you, to know that you are in the estate and the probate space. And they're not going to know this if they don't see a pretty consistent reminder in front of them. So we want to do 2 a week. All right. I want over the next 6 months, I want to create 10 pieces of content. 10 pieces of content. How many content creators do I have right now? And by content creators, how many of you write or do video that educates? That educates. Sarah, thank you. Okay, you're already, Matt, great job. You're already educating with content. Perry, great. So I want you guys to, again, not a magic number. It's just something that's doable. Have a goal over the next 3 months to create 10 content pieces around the probate and the estate niche where you are educating. You're not standing up begging for business. Okay, that's the mistake a lot of people make. The difference between a social media post and a piece of content is one begs for business and another one educates. So I want to teach people how to get through probate, how to avoid probate, how to create a living trust, what to do if there's a dispute between heirs. Maybe you're using some of your vendors and you're interviewing them on a Zoom room, and that's your content. You're interviewing and promoting the business of someone that you're in a relationship with. That's a piece of content. So I would encourage everyone here that wants to treat this seriously and specifically get business out of their pipeline to create content. I want to do at least 12 attorney prospecting phone calls. So I want to do at least 12. I'm going to say it again, not a magic number. It's just something that should be unbelievably doable. This is 1 a week, by the way. 1 a week. If you make 1 attorney cold call per week, simply just explaining who you are, why you're calling them, and ask for a quick meeting at their office, you'll get business out of attorneys. 1 a week is not hard at all. And over the course of 3 months, that means you've called 12 attorneys. Now, out of those 12 attorneys that I call, personally, based on my conversion, I'm typically going to arrange 6 office visits. So what is an office visit? It's a short 10 or 15-minute stop by the office to see if you can learn a little bit about the attorney's practice. And that's the way I describe it on my phone call. Hey, listen, I don't know if you're taking new clients, but I find myself, this is kind of magic language that I use. I find myself running into a lot of families and clients that are going through either setting up estates or going through probate or inheritance right now. It looks like you do probate and estate work. I'm looking for a good attorney that I can trust and partner with. Would you be open to that? Yes. Could I stop by your office for 10 or 15 minutes sometime in the next week and maybe learn a little bit about your practice? That's the way that I set it up. I'm a certified probate expert. I have done probates for a long time. Probate is a main focus of my business. Those are all true things. Notice I didn't bring any of those three things up on the phone call. I didn't bring any of those three things up. Why? Somebody tell me why I didn't bring those things up. So, certified probate expert. Probate's a main focus of my business.
Because you want to come off humble.
Yeah, exactly. I need to come off humble. I need the attorney's radar not going off. I need to keep their radar from going off because as soon as I come in there, like probate is my business, they know that I'm just coming in to get a bunch of referrals from them. And they don't want someone else begging for referrals. So I want to present myself as though I'm there to learn about their business because I have clients that are gonna have a need for their type of service. Okay. Now I am going to try to get referrals from them, but I don't want to put that onto their radar really hard. Not on the phone call. So this should result in about half of them allowing me to pop by their office for a 10 or 15-minute visit. Now, out of this, I think I will identify about 3 attorneys. So half of those that I've popped by their office, I'll identify about 3 that I really want to focus on building that relationship with. And those 3 attorneys, I'm going to have an extra meeting, an extra one-on-one. This attorney meeting here, this is one every 3 months. So this is 1 call a week. This is an office visit every 2 weeks. This is 1 lunch or coffee or something like that every month. It doesn't matter how busy you are, you should be able to follow a plan like this. So why am I not going after all 6 of these guys that let me come in their office? I can't cultivate that many relationships at a time. And when I choose someone who I'm going to cultivate a relationship with, I am going to put a lot of energy into them. So I'm choosing the 3 that I want to spend extra time with. And these are the guys that I'm really building. There are some folks in our coaching program and some people on here that I know that probably have a lot more attorneys than this. But listen, if I can get 2 or 3 attorneys that I'm their go-to investor or their go-to agent, that's a lot of business every year. You can create those 3 attorney relationships that you're going to be their go-to inside of 3 months if you take an approach like this. And I want to make it seem extra easy for you. How many of you think that you can make 1 phone call to an attorney's office per week? How many say I can do 1 a week? Okay. How many say I can do an office visit every 2 weeks? Okay. How many say I could carve out enough time in my life to have 1 lunch with an attorney per month?
I can.
That's all I'm asking for. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, absolutely. It's not hard, guys, but it is going to take some discipline to do it. It's really easy to do. This is also easy not to do. You guys ever heard that saying? It's easy to do, it's easy not to do. This is really easy to do, but it's easy to ignore, to get wrapped up in the transactions that you're doing. It's easy not to do. So when I'm building my pipeline, I want to figure out of 100 leads where my 12% are that I've had a conversation with. Okay. So I've got 100 leads. I'm going to go back a slide. Maybe. Back a slide. So I got 100 leads. 30 to 40 are going to sell. I only have to find half. So I only have to find 15% of my list that's going to sell. I only need to convert 20% of them into a client or into an appointment. Let's say that. I only need to convert 20% into an appointment. Now, everyone else goes into my pipeline. So I want to have a plan to communicate so I can be like Kim and have 85% of 30 closings coming up that are in my pipeline. And those probably took Kim a while to convert, and they're popping. We interviewed David Pinnell recently. And David, I don't know, he was having a month that was going to exceed six figures out of a bunch of closings, just this monster wave of estates and probate that were coming in. So I need to find my 12 people and have a plan for them. I need to attend some networking events, one every 2 weeks. I need to put some social media out. I need my audience to know that this is a focus that I'm working on, not my only focus, because then they'll stop sending you other business, but they need to know that this is a specialty you're working on. I would create 10 educational pieces of content over the next 3 months. Okay. I like video. This could be a blog or something like that as well. I want to make an attorney call once a week. I want to visit an attorney's office once every 2 weeks. And I want to have a lunch or a coffee once every month. All right. So this is how you build a pipeline. If you want deals, this is how you do it. All right. And then the last thing, I thought that the attorney meetings were going to be the last. I want to do something similar with my vendors. I need a vendor team. So if I'm going to be working with families that have inherited property, it's going to be nice to have someone that does floors. I went into an appointment 2 nights ago, Monday night, and I went in and the house was a little 1,000 square foot house, 2 bedrooms. It's in decent shape. It was built in 98, but the carpets were from 98. The countertop was from 98 and the paint was from 98. Everything else was great. So I need a painter, a carpet person, and someone that puts counters in. And I can get this seller $40,000 more for their house if we do those three things in that market. So I need those vendors. So what I want to do over the next 3 months is have about 20 vendor meetings. Now, meetings take time. So when I call attorneys, when I meet attorneys, because it's such a great referral source, I want the attorneys to be one-on-one, face-to-face. My vendors can be a combination of face-to-face and Zoom meetings. It's a lot of meetings here, and I don't want to meeting you guys to death. That'll ruin your schedule. So when I'm building my vendor team, I'm usually meeting most of them the first time over Zoom. And then as we get going and as I start asking them for marketing money and things like that, I'll start doing one-on-one. But in the early days, phone and Zoom are completely fine. All right. Amanda, go ahead. Before we hit this slide, let me go to Amanda. You can unmute yourself. You're still muted.
I apologize. I was simply trying to raise my hand like everyone else that I could do the pipeline goals. I'm so sorry. I don't have a
You're
question.
good. You're good.
How do you
I'm gonna
lower
drop
your
hand.
hand with the
Yeah.
reaction?
Awesome. So lower hand, if you click the 3, and this goes for everyone because it's Amanda, I'm picking on you, but it's at least half of the room doesn't know how to do this. So if you guys raise your hand and you want to take it down, you click the 3 dots next to your picture, your image, and you just click lower hand. All right. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for being the guinea pig for us.
Anytime.
All right. So let's talk about your assets and your system. So we've identified our relationships in our pipeline. We've identified what percentage of our original list we're going to convert fast, and then what we're going to do over the next 3 months to build a pipeline for future business. Now let's talk about some assets and systems that I want you guys to work on. So those of you that are in coaching right now, you guys know that we are all about working on the business, Okay. There's 2 types of real estate professionals out there. And I'd say, I'm just going to make a percentage up, but I would say that 95% of real estate professionals are what I would consider in the business real estate agents or real estate investors. You're in the business. That means you're doing things to take care of your transactions. You're meeting with attorneys, you're you're doing transaction coordination, you're writing contracts, you're in appointments, you're making phone calls, you're doing the different things that are very, very positive things, but that's all you do. And when you don't have business, and if you're not prospecting or creating new business, you really don't spend any time creating systems for yourself. Okay. And that's a problem. That's a really big problem for most of you. Now, about 5% of real estate professionals only work on systems and they never pick the phone up and make a phone call. These are the agents that work really hard and they have these unbelievable systems in place and they have these elaborate mail campaigns and their CRMs are structured flawlessly and they've spent a year setting up their business and they have the best branding and their signs look great and their contracts are unbelievable and they do no business. And it's because they don't spend any time hunting down business. But the reality is it's about 95% of agents and investors, I'm not going to forget you guys, that spend all their time trying to hunt down business and none of their time creating a system. So here's the way I describe our assets. Our assets are the tools, the resources, and the pieces that will work for you when you're sleeping. That will work for you when you're sleeping. A few months ago, I had a call from a lady that said that she wanted to do business with me, wanted me to list her house, and she brought up a unique selling proposition that I haven't used in 6 or 7 years. So I used to run a 29-day guaranteed sale. And the way that I structured my guaranteed sale is I'll sell your house for top dollar in less than 29 days, or I'll sell it for free. You don't owe me a penny. That's what I used to run. Now, I'm starting to get interested in that unique selling proposition again, but I haven't been interested in that in several years because when I'd go to a house 2 years ago, up until about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I'd get laughed out of the house if I said that. People would be like, "What are you talking about 29 days? The other agent sold my neighbor's house in 29 minutes." Okay, so I dropped the 29-day guaranteed sale from all my marketing somewhere around 6 years ago. Completely dropped it. But I had a blog or a video or a web page or something out there. I don't even know what it was floating out there, and it generated a call for me. It generated a lead, a come list me lead, a couple of months ago. Why? Because it's an asset that I created for myself that went and sold me and created some trusts, created someone that wanted me to come list their house while I was sleeping. So the assets are the things that you set up that are going to work for you forever. And occasionally, like in this case, you might even wish that it didn't deliver that message. Okay. In this case, I could easily overcome that and go, "Hey, I have something even better for you." And the reality is I'll honor the 29-day guaranteed sale. But it's not even something that I've focused on. I didn't create that. I created that 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Who knows? I don't even know what the piece was, but it got me business today because I created it 6 years ago. So when you think about your systems and your assets, you're thinking about things that are either going to sell you long after the fact, or you're thinking about systems that you're going to set up over the next 3 months that are going to make your job and your life easier over time. So this is a list of things that you should probably be working on over the next 3 months. And I'm going to encourage everyone to take a little bit of time every single week and work on your systems. Time block some time to work on your assets and systems. So number one thing that you need to work on is your warm outreach. Warm outreach. What is warm outreach? This is going to be you've had a conversation with someone that you identify as a pipeline lead. They're not ready yet. Hey, we might sell in a couple of months. Hey, we're not sure if we're going to sell yet. We'll decide after letters testamentary come out. Okay. So your warm outreach are going to be the letters and the emails that you send out, or the mailers or the emails that you send out over time. So what I would do is I would set myself up with 3 or 4 mailers and 3 or 4 emails. And if you guys want to make it much bigger than this, make it bigger. That's fine with me. So the several mailers and emails that are going to go out to people after you've established communication. I'm also going to work on some cold outreach. So cold outreach, these are going to be the pieces that go out before you've established communication. So a lot of times this is going to be your cold outbound mailers, maybe your door hangers, different things like that. So I want you guys to have some pieces that are going to go out before you've established communication. Many of you are going to choose to identify some digital platforms that you're going to go on. Google My Business would be a digital platform. Maybe for those of you that like to set up a blog platform, maybe you do an Active Rain would be a blog platform, or Blogger is Google's blog platform. Maybe it's just creating a Zillow or Realtor.com platform, putting your reviews on there. So I want you guys to have some digital platforms that people can find you on. This is extra important. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with leads and they've kind of been a little bit cold or chilly toward me. One guy called me back. This has been over a year ago, called me back, had a conversation with him, lasted about a minute and a half. And it was all I could do to keep him on the phone for a minute and a half. He was just not wanting to talk to me. 5 minutes later, my phone rings. He said, "Hey, I just didn't know you. I looked you up. You look legitimate. I'm selling 4 houses." Okay. All because I had digital platforms that made me look good online. Not everybody wants to talk to you the first time they hear your voice. Maybe they're still selling and they need to look you up. So you guys need to spend some time creating some digital platforms that cast you in a good light. Then I'm going to build some brand and marketing assets. So what are brand and marketing assets? These are opportunities for your leads to engage. I'm going to use a quick example here real quick. I think that everyone on this platform has probably been over on our website, probatemastery.com. If you haven't, go check out probatemastery.com. My marketing assets are up at the top. It said there's 3 mini trainings. And those mini trainings are just a way that someone can click and watch a short 10 or 15-minute video on a specific topic for free, or almost for free, in exchange for an email address. Okay. Bill Gross does a great job with email marketing. Bill was on here. Too many people. He might be on a different page right now. Great job with email marketing. For the most part, us agents and investors, we do a terrible job with email marketing. We don't know how to build an email list. You got to build an email list before you can be good at email marketing. So these are the freebies that you put out there that create someone to want to engage with you. They're great lead generation magnets, opportunities. Value magnets. This is the same thing. Okay, so create a magnet that causes someone to want to engage with you. Some of the assets that you want are really good vendor relationships. Okay, attorneys, vendors. And then I would go out and create content outlines and products. So content outlines and products. The way that I build my content, let's say I want to record 10 videos over the next 3 months. I'll start by choosing my topic. Then I create a short outline. And if I'm video focused, then I'll just sit down and I'll talk through to a camera that video. I'll talk through that video, that outline that I've created for myself. I send it off to a video editor. They cut it together, and now I have a really good piece of content. But before you record the video, you need an outline. You need an outline that tells you the 4 or 5 different talking points that you're going to hit during that content. If you don't like to be on camera, you still create your outline and you write a blog. All right. And then lastly, you want real estate team members. So we want other people that can take over responsibility for some of the jobs that are keeping us from going and getting new business. How many of you have teams? How many of you have people on your real estate team? And it doesn't have to be a buyer's agent or traditional listing agent. How many of you have people that work for you in some capacity? All right. got a few hands, not that many. Hopefully we get more of you to the point where you need people to work for you so that you can keep going out and getting business. Kim and I were just having a discussion on that this morning. Kim needs to incorporate another team member so that she can continue to keep that pipeline full. All right, so these are the assets and the systems that you need to create. Now, once you've identified your goals, you've identified which assets you're going to build into your business. Now it's time to put our boots on the ground and start doing the work that's going to get us where we need to be. Okay. You want one closing out of a list of 100 people within 3 months, and you want to identify 2 or 3 other pieces of business that you can get over a longer period of time. You want a certain number of attorney relationships, a certain number of vendor relationships. This is the in the business stuff that you need to perform on weekly for the next 3 months. Okay. Now, why do I keep on hitting 3 months? This is just something that's extremely doable. If you can do this for 3 months, you should be able to continue on past that. The trick is, how do you get started and do it for 3 months? So right off the bat, we want to identify our on the business time blocks. So we want to identify where in our week we're going to spend time working on our assets. All right. I'm going to go back. So on the business is just working on these things. So the average one of our coaches and coaching clients in here are spending time every single week working on the business. And they do that. I'll show you guys a sneak preview of a system that we use for that. They spend their time doing that by identifying a certain number of hours every week where they're doing nothing except for their business projects, creating their systems and assets. Okay. And the average person's doing 5 to 6 hours a week that they're devoting just to creating assets. All right. You want time blocks for prospecting calls. Now, I don't care if you have an ISA or a VA doing your cold calls. I don't care if you're attorney only and you're taking inbound leads and referrals. That's fine. You've got to have time, even if you're not cold calling, you've got to have time set aside to make phone calls. Maybe it's to your sphere of influence. Maybe it's a cold call. Maybe it's attorney calls. Maybe it's warm follow-ups. You need dedicated time to make calls. Otherwise, they're not going to happen. How do I know? I struggle with this. So I have 3 ISAs that call for me, and they're constantly turning over pipeline leads. So my ISAs and the majority of ISAs that people hire oftentimes don't find the appointment for you. They find the pipeline. Yeah, we might sell in 6 months, and they give that to me. And I don't make it a priority to call those people until I go through once every 6 months and see that 90% of them already sold without me. And why did they sell without me? Because I didn't call them. Right. So I have to set a specific named time block every week to go through my leads. And I would say that the majority of you need to do that as well. You need to name your time to prospect, right? Even if you're not cold calling, even if it's warm. You need to identify and give yourself credit for how many leads you add to your pipeline every week. A lead added to pipeline is anyone that says, yes, I'm selling next week. And it could be anyone that says, hey, we don't know yet, because the we don't knows are always going to end up being sellers. Okay. They don't know just because they haven't had conversations with the rest of the family. But I promise if they don't know, they're going to sell. So everyone between those bookends, I put into my pipeline. You need to set a certain goal weekly for follow-up outreaches. Okay. You need to set a goal weekly for a certain number of vendors that you add into your network and that you've had conversations with, even when you have a network, because how often do vendors not fulfill their promises and you need to go find someone else? So I would set a goal to add a vendor or 2 or 5 into my network every week. I would also set goals around how many attorneys I've added into my network. I'd set goals for a number of warm marketing pieces that I send out. So let me tell you guys what my goals are. Every week, I want to add 8 to 10 leads to my pipeline. 8 to 10 leads to my pipeline. Most of these are not today sellers. Okay. These 8 to 10 automatically result in follow-up outreaches until they sell, and automatically result in a number of warm marketing pieces. So if you're adding leads to your pipeline and you're not also doing a certain number of follow-up calls and warm marketing pieces, you're going to lose your leads. So these things, there's no outreaches to make if you're not adding to a lead to your pipeline to begin with, and there's no marketing pieces if you're not adding a lead to your pipeline. But your pipeline dies if you're not also doing these things. Creating a goal for a certain number of pieces of content that I create. Okay. And so that's the last one. I thought I had a few others on here. So this is just sort of a short list of things that you can start to track and set goals on for yourself, either weekly or monthly. All right. Do I have any questions on anything at this point? I'm going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but I want to show you guys some examples of tools that you can use, and then show you the way that we kind of do things in the coaching program. But first, I'm going to show you some tools that some of you guys might want to get. If there are no questions, let's move here. I want to show you guys planning tools and how to be accountable. How many of you are in accountability or mastermind groups now? Is anyone here already in a mastermind group or accountability, or has a coach, someone that you're reporting things to? I'd say most people are reporting to themselves, which is totally fine. Perry, perfect. All right. Okay, I'm going to change my screen share and show you a couple of the systems that we use. In just a second, I got to find the page. All right. So, how many of you have ever used or heard of Monday.com? Monday.com. So I'm going to encourage you guys to check out Monday.com. This is what we use when we're tracking KPIs, we're setting goals, we're identifying business projects that we're going to use. So first things first is I'll give you guys a sneak preview of the key performance indicators. That's what KPI stands for. So key performance indicators. And if you guys track and are accountable to do several of these things every week, your business is going to grow. It's unavoidable for your business to grow if you're working on these things. Make sure my screen's sharing. There we go. So on the business time blocks. So here's the way that I do this. For every hour that I spend on the business, I give myself 3 points. So if I spend 5 hours a week working on business assets and systems and creating things that are going to make my life easy, I'm going to give myself 15 points for that week. Phone prospecting. For every hour, I give myself 5 points. I give myself 2 points for every lead I add to my pipeline. I give myself 2 points for every email that I get added into my CRM. A point for every follow-up call, a point for every note I send. And so you guys can kind of see some of these things that I'm tracking here. I'm not going to go through each one individually, but every time I'm doing these things, I'm giving myself points. So what happens here, according to my sheet of things that I'm giving myself credit for and I'm tracking every week, if I did every single one of these exactly the way that I have it laid out, which nobody does, but if I did and I hit every single metric every single week, I would get 250 points a week. So my goal as an agent is to get at least 150 a week. So I don't need to hit my goals 100% of the time. I need to get a good chunk of the way there. About 70% of the way there is where I need to be. So if I can get 65, 70%, if I can get to 150 points a week, my business is going to flourish. Okay. And I do that with these activities that I'm tracking every week. And what happens is at the end of the week, I just go in and I report my score to myself, my broker, my coach, my accountability partner, my mastermind group. I'm reporting my scores. And then I go and I drag across the next week into place and make sure that I'm working on the next week. So I start my weeks on Saturday and I end my weeks on Friday. And I make sure that I have accountability partners or coaches that are there to make sure that I'm hitting my metrics, that I have to be accountable to say, no, I didn't do anything. Or yes, I did. They get to praise me when I've done good and encourage me when I'm coming up a little bit short. So I do that on my business activities. And as you guys see down here, I also do these on my personal activities because we're not here to make a whole bunch of money and be wildly unhappy and unhealthy. We're here to make sure that we're well-rounded, whole individuals that have a good life. So I give myself points for date nights. I give myself points for times that I quit working by 5 o'clock. I give myself points for times that I wake up by a certain time, times I take a walk, times that I get workouts in. So I'm also tracking those things because I need to be a well-rounded person. I also give myself points for vacation time. So it's really important that you guys not only track your business activities and your steps that you're taking, but also track those personal things. And then when it comes to our projects and our assets, this is how I track our projects and assets. So I always identify somewhere between 3 and 10 at the most, depending on how big they are. Normally on the smaller side, 3 to 5 projects that I'm actively working on that I plan on getting done in the very, very near future. So I identify those and put them up here into this top. And then I like to have a huge list of things that I've done, assets I've created that have been completed. And I do that right here. Now, the way that I do that is I go through my list of everything that I want to have done. And this is just a list of ideas. Okay. So if I want to build a team, I've got a project of hire and train a virtual assistant, hire and train a showing assistant, hire and train a transaction coordinator, a listing agent, an acquisitions manager, a buyer's agent. So I have no idea if or when I'm going to do these things, but they're on a list of possible assets that I could create. If I want to work on one of these, I just grab it and I drag it up into my current projects and I say, hey, this is going to be a priority for me. I'm on track and I need to have this done by the 30th of this month. So I'll give myself a deadline. I'll throw some project details in. And of course, because I'm running Zoom, there we go. There's the deadline. I give myself a deadline. I throw some project details. And when I'm done, I put for my coach and accountability partner, I add the file. So if it's a file, I'll add the file in here for everyone to be able to see that's I'm accountable to. And so all I do is I just run through these project ideas and I pull the ones that are of importance to me up to the top. And if there's something in here that's missing, I just add it. So I'm constantly dividing possible projects into different groups. So I've got projects for creating social media pages or groups. I've got projects for marketing material. I have projects for brand and marketing content. I have projects for my personal development, projects for my vendor relationship. And I'm just moving them according to whether it's something that I'm going to actively work on right now or if it's something that stays in the future. And once it's done, I make sure to put it here because I want to, in 3 months or 6 months or a year, I want to look at all these projects I've completed and say, look at everything that I've done, all the assets I've created. That is unbelievably encouraging to you and your business when you do this. So I do encourage you guys to use a tool or a resource specifically for project tracking like Monday.com or Trello. Those are two good tools that you can use for project management. I like Monday.com because I can also set up KPIs for myself, and I can track my weekly activities week over week and see if I'm moving toward my goals. But this is exactly how I plan out my business. This is how I plan out and I'm accountable to my business. And if I can follow these things, there's something wrong if you're not successful. So there's something wrong if you're not successful doing this type of business planning and tracking. So I'm going to encourage you guys to stick around for a quick minute. I'm going to spend just a quick minute telling you what our coaching program is, just in case anyone is interested. By the way, I'm just going to assume really fast that everyone here is has already taken Probate Mastery. If you have not taken Probate Mastery, Probate Mastery is currently $399. We just dropped the price with the rollout of our coaching program. We did just lower the price from $600 to $399. I've had dozens, hundreds of people say that Mastery could and should be $1,000 plus. So if you've not taken Mastery, we're now teaching it live and on demand. So you guys get to choose whether you want to come to the live session that I teach about once every 5 or 6 weeks. There's one coming up after the 4th. Or you can take it on demand. Great program that'll teach you the ins and outs of your probate business. If you've already taken Probate Mastery, this is our coaching program. So our coaching program gives you all the systems, accountability that you just saw. It runs for 6 months. Okay. You get at cost access to our video editors. You get at cost access to our virtual assistants. You get weekly coaching 3 times a month. So I know weekly and 3 times a month doesn't make sense. Basically, there's always going to be about 1 week a month where you're just doubled down working on your business, and you might not. Maybe it was just an extra busy closing week, or you had buyers in town. So 3 times a month, you get a private coaching session with a coach who's done what you're trying to do. We have 3 small group workshops every week where we're working on assets together. We have 2 prospecting sessions every week. We have role play every other week. By the way, the role play every other week is open to everyone. We'll be announcing when we have those. So we do role play every other week. You get a new course every month. You build systems that work for you and sell for you while you sleep, and you get all the tools that I just kind of showed you. Now, what's expected of you? This is going to be, for anyone that does the coaching program, you're going to be expected to put the time in. So I anticipate that you guys are going to spend at least 15 hours a week working on your business and performing at the level that your coach is encouraging you to do. It's not full time, but you're going to put some time in. It's not 15 hours of coaching. So I've got Casey and Kim and Evie and several people, Norval, that are here in the coaching program. And if I'm skipping you guys, it's just because I can't see you, not a big enough Zoom screen. And most of these folks are putting 5 hours into prospecting every week. They're putting 5 hours into their business building every week. They're putting 3 hours into coaching and workshops every week. And so they're putting 15, 20 hours into their business kind of around this probate niche. So there's some significant accountability that's going to be expected from you. So what we're looking for are people that want to do this and want to apply. So if you guys do want to apply, and I'll show you cost in 2 seconds. If you do want to apply, go to probatemastery.com/mastery academy. I'm going to drop it in chat. And I see a whole bunch of chats. I just can't tell how many of them were answers to my were questions or not. I'll look at chat here in a minute. So I just dropped into chat. I dropped probatemastery.com/mastery academy for anyone that wants to look at this and or apply. So how much does it cost? All right. One of the reasons we dropped the cost of Probate Mastery is because we're putting this high ticket coaching program together, and it's been together for a couple of months. It's finally ready to kind of release to the world. So if you're going to coach with us and you're going to get all this, we're looking for $12.50 a month. If you pay monthly, anyone who pays in advance gets a $1,000 discount. I have this unique selling proposition, this unique offer that makes it pretty easy for most people that don't have big money to spend on coaching. It's called our payment deferral program. So it just so happens that $12.50 a month comes out to $7,500 over the course of 6 months. All right. Anyone that just doesn't have that kind of money to put into coaching, or doesn't want to spend that kind of money on coaching, you can pay out of a referral fee if you want. So if you pay out of a referral fee, it's a 25% referral fee on your listings, or if you're an investor, the money that you make as an investor. So 25% until you've paid the $7,500 for the 6-month coaching. All right. And this is not only probate and estate. We're going to coach you on your whole business. So it would be all listings and investment deals. Now, to do that, I still have to pay my coaches and I have to pay my system. So it's going to cost you a little bit more. If you're deferring the program cost, it is $450 a month. So we want you to at least be able to cover $450 a month, and then you can pay the $7,500 out of closings. All right. I pair you up with a coach. Your coach will have done what you guys want to do. I've got several coaches on here. If you're a coach, raise your hand. If you're in coaching, raise your hand. So how many people here are in coaching? I've got a handful in coaching and a number that are actual coaches. Casey is a coach. Casey, you've been doing a good amount of business for a while. Kim, she's got 30 deals in the pipeline that are about to close in the next 60 days. So put you with people, and in some cases, they're doing better business than I am. Okay, actually, most of them are doing better business than I am. In some cases, they're doing better business than I used to do. Let me say that. All right. So anybody that's interested in this, just jump over to probatemastery.com, Mastery Academy, apply, figure out which plan would be best for you. I will tell you, anybody that's on the deferral plan, I want to interview you and see your business a little bit, because I want to make sure that we know that you're going to get business out of a structure like this. Been doing it for a couple of months and seeing some amazing results with people. Now, I didn't do this to give you guys a sales pitch, but I thought while building a business plan, it would be appropriate to show you that if you're looking for accountability and coaching as you're building your business plan, this is the program. If you have your own coach, if you have your own accountability partners, do exactly what I just showed you over the last hour and a half, but do it with them. Okay. If you want our help, we're here to help though. If you have not taken Probate Mastery, take Probate Mastery. It's a great class. I'm assuming that most of you on here have already done that though. All right. What questions do I have? Questions. So Greta, how do we sign up for the discounted Probate Mastery certification? It's the price has changed on the website. So you can get that through probatemastery.com at the new price. All right. Any other questions? Is there a do it for you platform? No, unfortunately. Unfortunately, no. It's going to take going to take a push. Going to take some effort. New price. Okay, hold on one second, Greta. I'm checking. Okay, so just go directly to probatemastery.com, and I think you're looking at an old link. So if you go onto the homepage and click just right down here on the homepage, under here it says enroll in Probate Mastery now, and the new price is up. Okay. I don't have this yet, but if anyone's struggling with like a $399, I could do a 3-month payment plan at $150 a month. You just email support at Probate Mastery and tell them that you need it. We can even do a payment plan on the course. But I will tell you, anybody that does coaching gets the course and gets 5 other courses included in the coaching as well. All right. Excellent. Other questions, comments? Do you guys see how simple it can be? How many of you say, hey, this is simple, I can do this? All right. Anybody feel a little overwhelmed with what I just showed you? Not the Mastery Academy stuff. Does anyone feel overwhelmed? Is there anything that I should go back through in our last few minutes?
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah.
Uh, um, are you doing anything with the easy offer platform that we went
Yeah.
over a
Yep.
while ago?
Yep. I just pitched the easy platform a couple of nights ago to a seller that got crazy excited with it. So yes, I started launching this coaching program, so I didn't put much energy into the easy platform and my presentation in my local market for a while. And I just started putting energy back into it about a week ago. So I've pitched it once, and I probably have someone going on to the easy platform.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I got it going and then it's been on the back burner.
So the easy platform is something that I plan on doing some masterminds and workshops around, specifically. So I'm going to start specifically working on some masterminds workshops where anyone that's doing it can actively plug in and do it with me. That's probably not going to start until after next week. But yes. So Frank, thanks for asking that. I still love that program, but I haven't done much with it until this week.
Yeah, I get it. But
Yep.
yeah, especially with this turn in the market, I think this could be really talk about a unique selling proposition.
Mm-hmm. I think that it is, it could very likely, and I'll tell you guys what we're talking about in 2 seconds. Very likely it could be the, it could be the way that the industry goes, the way that real estate is done. There's still a lot of other people that are all coming up with their own ways, but it's getting a lot of traction right now. So basically, for those that don't know, the easy real estate platform, it's a bidding platform where you put your listings in the MLS, and all offers route through the easy real estate offer page. And it's run comparable to an auction. It is not an auction. We're not auctioneers. So it's run comparable to an auction where buyer bids are visible. The terms of their offer aren't visible, but their bids are visible, and it kind of drives traffic. And then whoever wins the best offer that the seller chooses, they put a buyer premium on top of that price. So commissions are paid by the buyer on top of the final bid price. And then the buyer can roll it into their offer price. So let's say they bid a house up to 300 and you've got a 10% buyer premium. I just made that up. That's not what people are doing. Some are. A buyer would put $30,000 on top of their 300, and so the purchase price is now 330, and the commissions are paid. So it's a really, really fun platform to play around with. And I just showed it to a seller that's jumping all over it. First time I've presented it since a couple of months ago. All right, Dwayne, what do you got for us?
Some time ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I bought the Probate Mastery program when Chad, it's the one that he had done.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding was that that's still, I mean, it's bought and paid for, that it's still accessible. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct. So anyone that has Probate Mastery from before, or anyone that signs up for new Probate Mastery, you guys get my Probate Mastery Live. Again, I teach that once every 5 or 6 weeks. Next time I'm teaching it is the week of the 15th, 2:00 Eastern time for 5 days in a row. So 2 to 4:30, 5 days in a row, Monday the 15th through Friday the 19th. So we're breaking it into 5 sessions. Anybody that can't come to that also gets the on-demand version. And if you want Chad's on-demand version, was his original 15 hours. The way he teaches it and the way I teach it are different. It's the same overall concept, but the way we teach it is totally different. I expect some people are going to resonate with Chad. Some people are going to resonate with me. If you guys want his version, you just email support and say, hey, can I get Chad's version? But you'll get my version on demand, you'll get my live, and you can get Chad's version of on demand. I'll tell you, my version of on demand was just the last live class that I taught. So Chad's is a little more planned out for an on demand version. Mine's sort of a glimpse into the last live class.
So do I understand that having bought Chad's program, that gives me access to yours, or
Correct.
it's two separate? Oh, okay.
Yep. If you buy any of it, if you buy Probate Mastery, period, you can get live from me, on demand from me, on demand from Chad. You get any of the three versions. You could take them all. You could take one. It's up to you.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's good. I was figuring it'd be good for a refresher, so it's good to know that.
Yeah. Yep. So come take it again. Come take it again.
Thanks.
Welcome you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
anybody that doesn't have one of the versions that they want, you've paid for mastery, you don't have one of the versions you want, email support@probatemastery.com and we'll get you the other version. I got a question here from Lionel. Can you give us a glimpse into what's included in the coaching program? So weekly coaching. Once a month, your coach gets an off week. So you're going to get 3 coaching sessions a month. You're going to get the monday.com system that I just showed you. So monday.com will give you all the trackers that are included. You're going to be accountable to report those things to your coach. So your coach is just going to be your accountability partner and push you to make sure that you're hitting those activities that I showed you guys on monday.com a little bit ago. Weekly, I do 3 sessions. So 3 group sessions a week. Those are either prospecting sessions for 2 hours where everyone is on the phone together. Everyone that attends is on the phone together calling. It's kind of an accountability. We're all on camera live. You can see your 5 other peers. They're calling. People are reporting their numbers. They're waving their hand when they get a deal, things like that. Okay. Or it's a workshop. And the workshops, which I'm doing one actually right now, in 2 minutes. The workshops are where we pick a specific project. So today's workshop, we're working on our warm email campaign. So we have a phone conversation with a lead, and we're writing in the workshop today. We're writing those warm emails that are going to go out to a warm lead. So we get those. So there's 3 total sessions a week. They're either prospecting or they're workshops. There's a role play every other week. And there's also a Calendly link that everyone has to me for an unlimited number of 10, 15-minute calls. So you get those. I have VAs. I ran a VA program for a long time. So you can also get access at my cost to video editors or virtual assistants to help scrub your leads, make your calls, skip trace, things like that. So I just kind of give an at cost access to editing for videos or virtual assistant hours. And that's about it. Anyone that wants to extend, it's 6 months minimum. Anyone that wants to extend, you can extend it 6 months at a time. It's just $1,250 for every month that you're extending. If you do the payment deferral, you can just pay that $1,250 out of your closings. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helped. Any other questions? Raise your hand, please. When you put it into chat, I miss a lot of chats. So if you've asked a question through chat that hasn't been answered, I encourage you to raise your hand and I'll call on you.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I don't know how to raise my hand here.
You're good, Frankie.
Hello.
Hey.
I just put it in the Facebook group, but I mean in the chat, but just a quick question. I'm not doing the mentoring right now, but if in the Facebook chat, if I have a question or need some guidance, are there mentors in there that actually assist or
Yeah,
willing to answer questions?
was this in the Probate Mastery alumni group?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of people. There are some of our coaches and mentors in there. And there's some of our people that aren't coaches and mentors that have been doing this for a long time. I watch that. So yes, we can most likely answer any question you would have there.
Awesome.
Um,
Okay. I'm getting ready to get signed up, so I'm pretty excited about it. Thank you.
Perfect. Plus, Bill Gross, raise your hand if you're still here. Might have jumped off. Bill Gross does a Tuesday live coaching call every Tuesday for Probate Mastery. It's his call, and it's a Q&A session, so it's live. If you want to sign up for that, you can go to the top of probatemastery.com and sign up for the next live coaching session.
Yep, I've been taking those, getting on those every Tuesday religiously.
Perfect.
It's in my calendar. Yep.
Love it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll get your questions answered for sure. James Chen.
Hey, question. So those of us who pay for the interactive, can we still join the coach I guess you have like a weekly program also? Like a weekly, you say you
Yeah,
have
if
another
if
workshop
you've
coming
paid
up?
for interactive, I can get you in on the workshops.
Oh yeah, because I haven't been receiving any invites, and I think
Yeah,
on the Probate Mastery you give you links, but most of that links I think is updated, right?
I'll call you. I'm gonna call you probably this afternoon, and we'll get you in on workshops.
Okay,
Yep.
sounds good. And the role play, I'm assuming, right?
And the role
Because I
play,
think,
yes.
yep.
Anybody
Okay.
that it's been a really busy launch to the coaching program, and so I did fall off on those interactive sessions. But anybody, James included, that is needing to get in on those, we're pushing the workshops back out.
Yeah, let's touch base, and then we could work on. I might want to take on some of the ISA help and all that stuff. So
Cool.
why don't we touch base? I'll send you a note. We could touch base later on whenever you're not too busy.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, guys, I have a workshop that I've got to jump on. We're gonna write some warm emails, so I gotta go. Anybody else? Anybody else? Hopefully, if you haven't taken Mastery, jump in Mastery. If you want to get Mastery included, jump in the coaching session, the coaching plan. But I do need you to apply there. I'm going to interview you a little bit about your business. I just want to make sure that you're set up to where you'd get a benefit from it if you coach. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.